You call and state your name and city. Right is Yahweh Shem Yahshua Bagathar. How you doing, sir? Good, good. We'll be starting in just a few moments, okay? Okay, we're going to get started. Shalom, Israel, with the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohana. And since 1969, we've been teaching blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians that they are the chosen people that the Bible speaks of. And that our oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of. So we're going to start off with some mill scriptures tonight. After what we're going to do is start off with the ISUPK and what the ISUPK is. In the ISUPK, we're educating blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians about their true heritage, which is comprised of the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Bible. Once our people begin to follow the laws of the Bible, God, or Yahweh in the Hebrew, will look down from heaven and have mercy on us. He will also send Christ to free us from our oppression. Using the Bible, the ISUPK will fix all the problems of the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian communities, turning a lawless and immoral people into a law-abiding, righteous people. The true nationality of the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Indians, and West Indians of North, Central, and South America are the true descendants of the lost 12 tribes of the nation of Israel, and Jesus Christ, or Yahweh Mashiach, is their king. So in ISUPK, you're going to hear this over and over again about who we are at the lost 12 tribes of Israel. And the reason we keep doing that over and over again is because we're trying to get our people out of the Christian church, out of the Muslim mosque, out of all those other 6,000 something denominations of Christianity, and bring them home to the truth so we can build this army of 144,000 so we can hasten the return of Christ to free us from this oppression. We're going to start off with Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 6. Give you a chance to get to it. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, verse 6. But thou art an holy people. Now, this is Moses in the wilderness when he's talking to the children of Israel. After they had, that the Most High had delivered them out of the hands of Egypt, out of the slavery in Egypt. So he said, for thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God has chosen thee to be a special people unto himself. Now we as so-called African Americans, so-called Christians have a hard time believing and understanding that God, the Most High in heaven, could choose us as a special people, as a holy people. And just so we can get a little closer to understand what we mean, I'm going to look up the word chosen in the dictionary. Now, this is the Merriam-Webster dictionary, the collegiate definition, and this is entry 1 of 2. And it says, one who is the object of choice. Choice, there we go. The Most High made a choice for us, or of divine favor, an elect person. I don't know how you get any simpler than that. All the Christians who may tune in or watch this on tape a little later, I need you to think about what that means. The Most High says you are a holy people unto Him. Even our oppressor in this definition understands that the word chosen means, you need to put your phone on mute. We got a new caller. Why for tuning in, sir? How about you? Y'all about the thought. You put your phone on mute, sir, unless you have a comment or question. The water, sir. So, once again, we're back to that word chosen. And I'm going to start at the top. For thou art an holy people. And we know holy means set aside. You know, all the Christians know that holy means set aside. A people unto the Most High thy God. The Lord hath chosen thee to be a special people unto Himself. And once again, we get back to that definition. One who is the object of choice or of divine favor, an elect person. That's our oppressor's definition of the word chosen. And it goes back even to the Old English, you know, as far as what the word chosen means. And we're talking about a divine favor, an elect person. And we're going to stick with these middle scriptures tonight. But, you know, when we read in Revelation, you know, it talks highly about the elect. Who are the elect? The elect are 12 tribes of Israel, the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian. So even our oppressor knows who we are, which is an indication of why we suffer so much oppression and all these different issues that are going on, not only in the past, but also of today. And let me finish this. A special people unto Himself. And here it is. Above all people that are upon the face of the earth. That's amazing. The so-called Black, so-called Hispanic, so-called Native Indian. The Most High is saying you are above all people that are upon the face of the earth. That's amazing. You know, and once we start realizing who we are, we can start coming into this truth and follow the law, statutes, and commandments. I read a post earlier today about a sister. She posted, she was having some issues at work, and she shared with an Isupk sister, a so-called Hispanic, about us being the 12 tribes of lost tribes of Israel. And apparently she went home, watched some YouTube videos on ISUPK, and you know, she was having issues with the oppressor at work. And the same oppressor who was giving her all this hard time at work, you know, the following day or two, and I don't know the exact time frame that lapsed, but she comes back to work after looking at some of our videos, and now she's giving our sister in the truth the cold shoulder. And our sister asked her, you know, what's going on? You all right? And her response was, well, you know, I can't go around hating people, you know, and people what they interpret, when we love our people, other people interpret it as hating other people. Well, we hate what the Lord hates. But at the end of the day, in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, under Commanding General Yohana, we learn how to be professionals. We learn how to digest this truth, live it, and still get along in this society. You know, we still work with our oppressors. We still go to the stores that our oppressors go to. You know, when we walk through a door, there's an oppressor behind us. We hold the door open for them. You know, it's no big deal because we still have to get along in this society and make this thing work. But at the end of the day, being in this truth, we have to learn to love our people. And just to get to the end of that situation, anybody got a question or comment? Go ahead.
But you know, it's no problem to love our people. Loving our people, there's nothing wrong with just loving your own people.
Right.
And loving your own people is just as normal as loving the Asian man, loving their own people, any other race, any other race, there's not a problem with loving their own people. But when it comes to a black man or a Hispanic man, there's a problem with loving their own people. You know what I'm saying? Why is that?
Right.
That's because you have self-hatred. You know what I'm saying? Black
Right.
self-hatred. You know what I'm saying? And passionality, because nobody, you know, the people that you gotta look at the people that love their own people. They are not at a lower state than we are. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because they love their own people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right now, you know what I'm saying? You have to rock bottom. You can rock something else. So, you know, there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
That's all I'm looking for.
I appreciate that, sir. I want to make.
Well, if I may.
Go ahead, sir.
I'll just say, we're not holding no doors open for no heathens, but we won't let the door slam in their face just to be mean or antagonistic.
Come. Thank you for adding that detail, sir. I appreciate that.
All right.
Water. I want to make sure we get. Can I use that speaker over there? Could you turn that speaker on? So we're going to see if we can get a little bit more volume on this phone call. Stand by. Okay, that's you. I'll turn that on. You might have to hit that button to wake me up. Okay, there we go. Okay, I think we might be in the house on this one. Can I get a test? Can I get a comment so I see how the speaker's working? From someone on the phone? It's still not going through. Salakia.
Mic check.
Mic check. Okay. Get off the phone. Okay, let's give that another shot. Okay. That's not going to work for us. Salakia. You can turn that off. All right, so we're going to keep rolling with what we got right here. And at the end of the day, I'm going to go back to the situation that the sister had, with the oppressor at work, with her sister at the oppressor at work. So long story short, she ends up and goes and starts to hug the oppressor that she had the problem with at work. So she understood that there was a need because of the oppression that we're going through to separate and gather ourselves together, as it says in Zephaniah 2:1. But at the end of the day, she's so indoctrinated in Christianity and loving our oppressor so much that she went and hugged this oppressor. So that's what we're here to do, from the ISUPK, is open our people mind and understand that we need to separate from our oppressor. Now I'm going to read this one more time. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. So that means we got to get away from our oppressor once again and start gathering ourselves together and start loving our people. And that doesn't mean necessarily taking up arms against our oppressor, because we understand that our weapons that we have are spiritual, they're not carnal. And I'm going to go to 2nd Ezra. Let's see here. Just bear with me for a second. Second Ezra 6:54 in the Apocrypha. Book of Second Ezra, chapter 6. Block it. 6 and 54. It reads, and after these, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord over all thy creatures, of him come we all, and the people also whom thou hast chosen. There we go again, that word chosen. And we read what the definition of chosen means. Once again, we're looking at in the Apocrypha, these 14 books that the Catholics removed from the Bible. We have to go searching to find these other 14 books. The beautiful thing about it now is that we can just go online and order the Apocrypha and have it delivered to our house, right? But they'll have you believing that this Apocrypha doesn't apply to the Scripture. And what it does is the Apocrypha, pretty much details a lot of our Greek captivity. So once again, I want to read this from the top. And after these, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all the creatures. And, people understand that all of us come from Adam, but what they don't understand is that the Most High has a chosen people. And right here, he makes it clear that there's a different set of people from everybody else. Whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all, and the people also whom thou hast chosen. Now you can't, once again, get any clearer than that, this word chosen, that the Most High chose us in the Old Testament, and he makes it clear even in the book that nobody reads that we're chosen there also. What we want to do it as an ICPK is get people to understand that we need to read the whole Bible, the 66 books and the other 14 books, to get a clear understanding, because what the Apocrypha does, it gives us more understanding of who we are as the Most High's people. So we encourage you to get order you an Apocrypha online, or if you come to the school, we'll make sure that you get one. And now we're going to go to Psalms, chapter 147, 19 through 20. So we're talking about whether or not the Most High is, quote unquote, racist. When people hear that term racist, they think of racism as it's been carried out and perpetrated against us as a people on the 12 tribes of Israel, right? So we think about, once again, what they have done to us as a people, what they've done to the so-called Hispanics and Native Indians, what they did to them in this country, taking them, first of all, into the transatlantic slave trade, what they did to the Southern Kingdom in the other transatlantic slave trade, and the history of what slavery is in this country. So when we think of racism, we think about what the white man, what our oppressor has done to us. But or him having a chosen people, we say that that's racist, right? But at the end of the day, what it does is amplifies the Most High's choice of his people and who we are on this planet. Let me go to Psalms 147, verse 19 through 20. He showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. So we're going to look at that word showeth, or show, in the dictionary. Let's get rid of this commercial here. Just bear with me for a moment. So, in the Merriam-Webster Collegiate Dictionary, And just to still to make sure we're in context, starting at in Psalm 147, verse 19 says, He showeth his word unto Jacob. The word show in the dictionary says to cause or permit to be seen. To cause or permit to be seen. So that's saying that the Most High is only causing Jacob, which are the 12 tribes, permitting them, the only one to be able to see or exhibit his statutes and his judgments. So let me start at the top. He showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. So coming into this truth, you start understanding that who you are as part of the 12 tribes. And, we want to say that the Bible is for everybody. No, clearly in Psalms 147, starting verse 19, it says, the Most High showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. So this word is only for the 12 tribes. And if we go back to Deuteronomy, when Moses was delivering the commandments to the children of Israel, it was for Israel only. Even the judgments is only for the house of Israel. We're the only ones who are chastised by the Most High. So I'm going to start at the top. He showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. Black man, Hispanic man, Indian man, Native Indian man, I should say, scattered all over the earth. This word is only for you and you alone. It's not for any other nation on the planet but you. Verse 20, he hath not dealt so with any nation, and for his judgments they have not known them. Praise ye the Lord. So if we look at all the other nations, we know what they do. They don't keep the Most High's law, statutes, and commandments. And unfortunately, we being lost, we follow other nations and want to do all the stuff that they do. Not understanding that we are a separate people, a holy people. We're not supposed to be eating pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster. And in Leviticus, the Most High tells us what is good for food for us and what is not good for us. And we have a difficult time understanding that. So once again, it says, he had not dealt so with any other nation. As far as his judgments, they have not known them. The other nations don't know the judgments of the Lord. They think they know, but they don't. No one has suffered the oppression that the 12 tribes have suffered. The so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians who are scattered all over the planet. And we're looking at the, go ahead. Go ahead.
And because they were not given the law, that's the reason why they go out and they act the way they act and they do the things that they do because they were never presented the law. You know what I'm saying? So for them to be out of order, you should absolutely expect that. You should understand why Africans eat the things that they eat and white people act the way that they act and Chinese people eat the things that they eat because they are not under any law. You know what I mean?
Right. Is there another comment?
Yeah, that was it. That's all you.
The water, sir. I'm going to go back up. Let's start back up at verse 20. He has not dealt so with any nation. And I want to dealt because I think that's very important to give meaning and understanding to what the Most High is doing with the nation of Israel. And the definition of dealt or to deal means to concern oneself. Let's see here. To take action with regard to someone or something. He's only dealing with Israel. He's only taking action with Israel and Israel alone. We'll go after 9, verse 13. Romans chapter 9, verse 13. As it is written. And I know I don't have to go into as it is written. Everybody knows what that means. We're talking about a statement that the Most High made in the Old Testament. Right now we're reading in the New Testament. And Christians like to say that this New Testament applies to everybody on the planet. And sometimes even say except for Israel, that he got away from Israel because they didn't obey his laws, statutes, and commandments. So Romans 9, chapter 13, he says, as it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. We already understand that Jacob are the 12 tribes of Israel, the so-called black, Hispanic, and Native Indians. And he says, but Esau have I hated. Now, Esau, if you don't know, is a progenitor of the so-called oppressors. We like to call him the so-called white man. And everyone likes to say in Christianity that God doesn't hate anyone. But right here it's clearly saying, as it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. And we're not going to go into the whole story of Jacob and Esau being in the womb of Rebekah, not at this point. So I'm just going to keep it moving. We're going to go to Amos chapter 3, 1 through 2. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Before you get that scripture, I'm just going to precept to that one where it says it is written. They just find that in Malachi chapter 1, verse 3. And I hated Esau and laid his mountain and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. That's it.
Okay, sir. I appreciate you bringing that out.
What?
And as a new officer, I'm going to stick to the mill scriptures. I appreciate that so much, sir. Before I get checked. So we're going to go with Amos chapter 3, starting at verse 1. Hear this word that the Lord has spoken against you, O children of Israel. Now we're talking about the Most High, the creator of everything, but here it's saying he's spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought out, Shalakia, that I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, you only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore, I will punish you for your iniquities. Now, I know we have some parents listening in or maybe tuning in on Facebook. You know, when our kids go outside, you know, they're playing with other kids. You know, we give our kids, our children, a set of instructions, just like the Most High has given us a set of instructions. So when our kids are cutting up or acting up with other kids, we may say something to the other kids, right? But at the end of the day, we're going to admonish our children. That's what the Most High is saying right here in this scripture, right here, through the prophet Amos. I'm going to read it again. Hear this word that the Lord has spoken against you, O children of Israel. And once again, if you're new to this truth, you have to internalize this. When you hear the term children of Israel, you got to understand that that's you, black man, Hispanic man, so-called Indian man. That's you. And when I say man, I'm talking about women also, women and children. You got to internalize this understanding of who you are as God's chosen people, so that when you start reading this Bible, following the priests and prophets of Isupk, you start understanding that this Bible is to you, from Genesis all the way through Revelation, including these other 14 books in the Apocrypha. He did this, he wrote this to you and you alone. So therefore, you're the only one that he's going to chastise. Do other nations suffer certain things? Absolutely. But you suffer for a reason, and that's what you got to understand getting into this word of why you're suffering. Because of our disobedience, because we fail to follow the law, statutes, and commandments. And we to the ISUPK, the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, under Commanding General Yohana, you learn how to follow these laws, statutes, and commandments. You know, I talk to a lot of brothers every day. You know, they know about the truth, but they feel like they're not worthy to come into this truth because they have demons on them right now, right? And they left because they smoke weed, because they may sleep with another man's wife, because they may watch pornography or smoke cigarettes or smoke weed, whatever the case may be, but they let that hold them back from coming into this truth. But we call out to these brothers and these sisters, come into this truth, bring all those dirty, nasty, filthy habits with you, and we will help you get rid of them. We will teach you how to fight those demons. You're going to do one or two things. You're going to stay and you're going to thrive in this truth. You're going to go back to those dirty, filthy, disgusting habits. But you need to come into these rooms and get this understanding of who you are, learn how to fight, experience true brotherhood, experience true sisterhood, and understand that brotherhood, sisterhood is the strongest weapon that we have. Stop listening to those demons, that demon of smoking weed, right? And get into these rooms. The problem with that is we don't understand that those are demons talking to us. And the reason is because when we hear that demon is speaking to us in our own voice. So when that demon says, go smoke some weed, he sounds just like you. But that's a demon that's talking to you. When that demon has you looking at another man's wife, that's a demon talking to you. Understand this, black man, Hispanic man, so-called Indian man. Come into this truth, we'll teach you how to fight. Put on all black. Put on your boots. Verse 2, I'm going to read that again. You only have I known of all the families of the earth. Of all the families of the earth. No, when we hear that, we hear the word all the families of the earth, we understand that that term family means nations. It means different groups of people, different races of people. So he's saying to you, of all the families of the earth, you're the only one that he has known. Therefore, I will punish you for all your iniquities. So when you understand the punishment that you're going through, all these setbacks and everything, now that's not to say that when you come into the truth, you won't have setbacks, you will. But guess what? You'll have brotherhood and the truth to help you fight those setbacks. I'm young in this truth. It is my understanding that there's nobody that's in this truth, no man, woman, or child that's in this truth that goes without breakfast, that goes without lunch, that goes without dinner, that goes without making the rent on their apartment or their house. You don't find that in the Christian church. But in the ISUPK, under Commanding General Yohana, is real. There's a process that you go through to make sure there's rank and order. Something that we as men in the world don't understand, right? And because we have rank and order, we have true brotherhood. I recognize the man that's over me. I recognize the man that's under me. That's my brother. I'm his brother. I recognize the sister. That's my sister. I'm her brother, right? And that's the weapon that's going to get you to be able to put the weed down, put the cigarette down, not drinking excessively, you know, because to drink excessively is a sin. You come to the ISUPK under Commanding General Yohana, we'll teach you how to fight that demon that has you drinking excessively. Next, we're going to get into some women's scriptures. We're going to go to 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 3. Second here. So yeah, once again, we're switching gears just a little bit here. Once again, all these scriptures that we're going through encompass brotherhood and sisterhood. The word that the Most High has for us teaches us brotherhood and sisterhood. It teaches us how to love our brother, how to love our sister. And at the end of the day, a lot of times we don't understand that that means loving our brother who is Hispanic, who is Native Indian, right? Because unfortunately, growing up in this world, we don't understand that that is our brother. The Mexican man is our brother. The Native Indian man is our brother. The women are our sisters, and we can almost sometimes have a perpetual hatred for our brother, and the Most High died and left us a set of instructions on how to do that, right? How to love our brother, how to bring these two kingdoms back together. And at the one of the last, I believe it was Feast of Tabernacles last year. Commanding General Yohana was in Southern California. And at the culmination of that event, his order to us was to bring the two kingdoms back together. And as Isupk Oakland, under Commanding General Yohana, and our camp leader, Karak, damn it, that's what we're going to do. We're going to bring these two kingdoms back together. And we're starting right here in Oakland, California. So if you're on Isupk Oakland on our Facebook page, you can direct message us. We'll get back to you. We'll help you get into this truth, and you'll learn true brotherhood and true sisterhood. And we'll be waiting for you to direct message us. We want to 1 Corinthians. When we talk about women, we're still talking about brotherhood and sisterhood. At the end of the day, once we learn how to follow this rank and structure, learn how to follow that the Most High has put in place for us, that makes us a stronger brother. That makes us a stronger sister. I got my rib and one of my daughters in class right here. Big ups to them. And, I was kind of short on getting my set together. My rib jumped right in and started helping, right? Now, she don't agree with everything that we do, but she's my helpmate. She understands rank and order. She may not agree with everything yet, right? But she understands rank and order. So we're going to go to 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 3. But I will have you... So I could go ahead, sir.
Most High Christ for that, man. Most High Christ for your real crew. Stepping in and doing what you're doing, man. Most High Christ.
So, come. The water for that. We're going to have a glorious, high, holy day coming Friday. First fruits. Slakia. Chapter 11, 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 3. But I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ. I pause for a second because that's real deep. In Christianity, once again, they will say that that their head is Christ, but they don't do what Christ say. Because if you knew Christ was the head of you, you would do what he says do in his word. But I will have you know that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of every woman is the man, and the head of Christ is God. Doesn't get any clearer than that. We have the Most High, we have Christ, we have the man, we have the woman, and then we know, of course, we have children, right? So, in Christianity, unfortunately, you have some women who are way out of order. And unfortunately, the reason they're out of order is because their man who's supposed to be their head, he's out of order. He's not following what Christ says to do. He's not following the law, statutes, and commandments. In the Christian church, they're eating shrimp, crab, pork, and lobster. In the Christian church, when he goes to church, he's sitting next to his wife, but he's looking at the woman on the choir stage and how short her dress is, how short their dresses are, right? The Christian church is anti-Christ, and it's an abomination unto the Lord. But I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of the woman is the man. Difficult for a Christian woman to understand that. That's why we come into this truth. We don't bang our people over the head with it. But when we hear a lie, we speak up. When a woman is out of order, she's out of order. And we do it with love when we correct our women. They don't always like it, but at some point they learn how to stop talking. You don't find that in the Christian church. Women don't know how to stop talking. Don't know how to stop going against her husband. Why? Because her husband is out of order. Coming to this truth, Israelite School of Universal Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, and learn how to get in order, learn how to follow these laws, statutes, and commandments, learn how to get your family back. Under the Most High in Christ. That's the only way you're going to get your family back, is under the Most High in Christ. And the Isupk is the only Israelite group that will teach you how to do it. We're not affiliated with any other Israelite group at all, period, in the story. You know, I can tell you story upon story, well, not story upon story. I get excited and go too far sometimes. One or two individuals who thought they were in the truth got involved with a fake Israelite group, end up leaving their family. Within 2 or 3 months of being in the so-called truth, not learning rank and order, not getting counsel. But see, in this truth, you have to get counsel. That stuff that you got to talk to your brother, a man that's over you, your camp leader, your captain. That's what we do in this truth. That's brotherhood. If my wife and my kids are out of line, it's too much for me to handle, I get counsel about it and learn how to understand and learn how to treat my wife. You know, we talk about we're the head of the woman, right? This is going to be a touchy subject. Is a woman our property? Hell yes, she is. They have a hard time understanding that, right? But at the end of the day, how do we treat our property, right? We take care of our property. What I have to understand is that, or what we have to understand, what we learn to understand is that our wife is also our sister. Our daughter, also our sister. Our sons, they're our brother. Our fathers, our uncles, they're our brothers, right? And the Most High in Christ lays it out on how to be a brother to your son, how to be a brother to your uncle, how to be a brother to your mother. She's still your mother, but you still got to learn how to be a brother to your mother and deliver this truth to her, right? You can't be like a lion roaring all through your house every day. You can't win nobody to the truth like that, right? So we come into the truth, learn these milk scriptures, understand what they're saying, so that we can convey this message and carry this truth to our families. And somebody have a comment? Go ahead, sir.
If I may, real quick, just to go in on the rank and order system and how important it is to see a man that's in order as well. It should make a woman want to get in order as well, because you're seeing men that are saying kind out of one kind to the men above you. And just watching Blackwatch the other day, I was explaining the same thing to my rib, that General Muhammad is the second in command in the school. That means everyone in the school, from a trooper to the highest general underneath him, says kind out of one kind to him. But to see General Muhammad say kind out of one kind to General Yohana shows that he's still in order, he's still in line, he still has respect. And when you look at the next one down, General Mayakala, everyone in the school except two brothers say kind out of one kind to him. He says kind of one kind to General Muhammad and to General Yohana, and so forth and so forth. And as it further it goes down, you know what I mean? So it's not something that's to look down upon. It's respect to see, okay, if this man can humble himself and follow someone else, what would be in a woman's mind to feel like she can't humble and follow behind the man that she lays in bed with at night? You know? So that's all I have to say on that.
Right. Con on one con. I appreciate that, sir. I am Bar. Next scripture we want to go to is 1 Timothy chapter 1, 11 through 12. 1 Timothy chapter 1, 11 through 12. And it reads, let the woman learn in silence. Let the woman learn in silence with all subjection. Subjection. We want to look that up. I didn't think about it preparing for this lesson, but let's look up the word subjection.
I got it.
Fine. Go ahead.
All right. Subjection. The action of subjecting a country or person to one's control on the fact of being subjected from the further deeper into the very unrest dictionary. Domination, subduing.
And you know, the word domination, you know, people have a negative connotation of the word, you know, domination. And all domination means is an individual has dominion over a person, a place, right? So domination is not always a bad word. It's just saying that you have dominion. And if you're in order, you're going to subject yourself to the dominion of your husband. You're going to subject yourself to the dominion of the man above you. You're going to subject yourself to the officer of 50, the officer of 500, the officer of 1,000, the officer of 5,000, the captain of 10,000, the captain of 13,000. You're going to subject yourself to the general, commanding General Yohana. You're going to subject yourself to Christ. You're going to subject yourself to the Most High, who has dominion over you. We've already gone over that order. The Most High, Christ, the man, the woman. Salaki, sir, I don't know if you was finished with your definition. That domination got me, sir.
Yeah, I looked up also, Salaki, also submit to.
John.
What you bring out is so heavy as well, for the fact that if you can't submit to these simple things, what makes you think you'll be willing to really submit to Christ? But also submit means accept or yield to a superior force or to the authority of or will of another person. yield to the governance or authority. And we also submit to the people at our job, our boss. We submit to the laws. Get pulled over or you stop at a stop sign.
Right.
But if it comes to people in our family or a bit of the Lord, somehow slavery, we have a problem with that concept.
Right.
And that's all
I appreciate that, sir. So once again, let the woman learn in silence with all subjection, and that's just orderly, right? Women shouldn't be out here trying to preach, trying to teach, because what happens with that on these front lines when you're teaching, you're subject to slings and arrows, and we don't put our women in harm's way. So that's why she should be learning in silence, and let the strong man, I shouldn't say understand that her man who's in order is going to lead, so that she doesn't have to be subjected to all the other slings and arrows that carrying out this word entails. Verse 12, but I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to usurp the authority, nor to usurp authority over the man, but to be in silence. So there you go. There's no such thing as a woman pastor. No such thing as having authority over a man. And when you look at the Christian church, that's all you see is women out of order. The Christian's a woman to be over in so-called ministry. It's got his men acting like women. It's got his men subjecting himself to a woman, and that goes against Scripture. I'm going to read it again. But I suffer. You don't have a woman up in a pulpit or even on the floor teaching Sunday school, Sabbath school, whatever the case may be. That's out of order. Nor to usurp your authority over the man. Not only in the churches, but in the houses. Women don't usurp authority over a man. Does a man discuss all the issues with his wife and she gives good suggestions and everything? But at the end of the day, when the house fails, they're going to look at the man. They're not going to look at the woman. So it's the man being in rank order, getting counsel, understanding how to make decisions. So a woman is not supposed to usurp authority over a man. And with that, we're going to go to Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 26. Go ahead, sir.
Fact that the Christian church do have a in order. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The Christian church also believes that Yahweh Shai and Yahweh are the same people.
Right.
So they so lost out of touch with rank and order that they would sit there and deceive the people and make them think that because they don't do rank and order in the Christian church. If a woman has feelings, she should come out and if that man is wrong, you should go upside his head about whatever it is that you want to go. You don't have to take what he gives it to you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And they destroy a righteous household. The Christian church destroys righteous households. Men that are in order, who are dealing with situations where you in the truth and the other person is in the thing. If they don't get a grasp of what it is that you're coming out with on the commandments of Yahweh, and understand that the real truth lies in the UPK.
Right.
And the last little part of it, bring out, when it says, it's just like you just brought out, a woman is not able to teach. Then what the scripture, who changed the word of God? The Christian church did.
Right.
The Christian church changed the word of the Most High. They started
going in there, they start deciphering stuff already on that they were taught by the Catholic priests who don't even read the Bible. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They were taught by all these men who said you couldn't have. I'll get to that another time.
Right.
Who said other things about the people of Israel and brought that out, and they changed the word of God, man.
Right.
So that's where all this that rank and order that you were talking about, and that's why it's lost in the Christian church. Because they changed the word, they changed the law. That's it.
Most High in Christ, clap it up for that officer, please. You know, sir, what you bring out is so heavy, you know, and I know you said you'd go into it another time, and I probably should wait, and I will wait. But, you know, in the scriptures, it says, you know, the oppressor, the devil that the Bible speaks of, would think to change times and laws. And that's exactly what they've done in the Christian church. But I'll let you go into that another time, sir. I appreciate you bringing that out. That's real heavy. Because all this disorder, these unlawful acts is because of the devil that the Bible speaks of, deceiving and tricking our people into being out of order day in and day out. So that with that, we're going to go once again to Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 26. Book of Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 26. And I find more bitter than death the woman whose heart is snares and nets. Now the Most High is saying he find more bitter than death the woman whose heart is snares and nets. So if you have a woman who has a heart is snares, whose heart snares and nets, that's worse than death according to the Most High. And her hands as bands. So everything she does, her goal is to bond the man. Whoso pleases God shall escape from her. So if you're a man of the Most High, following these laws, statutes, and commandments, you can escape a wicked woman whose heart is snares and nets. Once again, whoso pleases God or the Most High Yahweh shall escape from her. But the sinner, if you choose to not follow the law, statutes, and commandments, shall be taken by her. Someone got a comment or question? Go ahead.
When I hear this scripture right here, I think about a woman praising her man with child support. Okay. That's what it's saying. You know what I'm saying? She trapped you. Yeah, I got that. Trapped you with child support. Even though a man should take care of his son, don't get sick. But because it's not going the woman's way, she want to put you on child support. Because she want to worry you. You know what I'm saying? That's the snare. That's the trap. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's just horrible that, you know what I'm saying, our sisters and you know what I'm saying, our oppressors, they're just, you know what I'm saying, bring our warriors to a Lord's state. And it's sad that it's
right.
You know what I'm saying, working it out with a brother.
Sorry.
You know, making our state. That's all.
I appreciate you bringing that out. Any other comments? All right. You know, in all the scripture, you know, are a manifold, where you got different meanings and understandings to what the scripture is saying. And, child support is just one of those, issues, right? At the end of the day, when you have a woman whose heart is snares and nets, it can cause a man to go into doing all kind of unrighteous things, unrighteous acts. Once again, encouraging a man to smoke weed, encouraging a man to smoke cigarettes, overdrink, whatever the case may be, or even to the point where they're causing more stress in a man's life to cause him to do reckless things to his body, do reckless things to his family, do reckless things to his brother, right? So whoso pleases God, start following these laws, statutes, and commandments, shall escape from her. But the sinner shall be taken by her. And then we talk about the man escaping from her. That doesn't always mean necessarily leaving that woman. That means you getting into this truth, following the law, statutes, and commandments, and hopefully leading her into this truth so she don't continue to be that woman whose heart snares and nets an individual. We'll go back to 1 Corinthians chapter 14:34. Once again, that's 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 34. And here we go again. Let your woman keep silence in the churches, for it is not permitted unto them to speak, but they are commanded to be under obedience, as also saith the law. And then we got some women online, and that kind of hurts a little bit, right? Not understanding that this is put in order not only to protect a woman, but also to keep her in line, to keep bad things from happening, right? It says, let your woman keep silence in the churches. So if a woman is out preaching, and there's all this other kind of stuff, right? Anything is subject to happen. When men see women preaching, they're not just listening to the word, they're looking at the woman, thinking about how her thighs look and what her breasts look like in her dresses and all that kind of stuff, right? Because unfortunately in Christian churches, there's not a lot of modesty. And if you think back to the last time you went to church, all the women were not covered up. All the women's heads were not covered, right? And when a woman speaks, what does her voice sound like? Most men, if they hear a woman preaching or trying to teach, they're not listening to the lesson. They're listening to how her voice sounds. They're listening, imagining how she's going to talk to them once he gets her alone. But they are commanded to be under obedience. So in the truth, a woman is not allowed to teach. In the truth, a woman is not allowed to go to camp. That's a man's place. And a woman needs to be obedient and follow that to protect herself and to protect the nation of Israel, as also said the law. Now we're not going to go to Genesis 3:16 because we're going to stick with the milk scriptures. But there's a reason for this. This is the New Testament that we're reading in. It says, let your woman keep silence in the churches, for it is not permitted unto them to speak, but they are commanded to be under obedience, as also saith the law. Now, I'm going to reference this because when we go to Genesis 3:16, we understand why the woman shouldn't be teaching, why the woman shouldn't be entertaining other men teaching her that's not her husband or not an officer in this truth. Because when that happens, bad things happen. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's so true. You know what I'm saying? And I know you're trying to be, you know what I'm saying, speak correct. And yeah, you should put that in the scripture. But like in the Christian church, that's how another woman gets fucked. You know what I'm saying? Excuse my language, Salakia. But that is how another woman gets the business. You over here entertaining, smiling in another man's face. You know what I'm saying? In a slick ass nigga's face. You know what I'm saying? The deacon or the pastor or whatever. And that's how you get in the draws. Just like any nigga on the street. You know what I'm saying? You know, you need to, if you're a sister, you need to mind your goddamn business. You know what I'm saying? If you need to know, something, you need to get it from your husband.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Unless you're looking from the truth, yeah, you can holler, but still you need to stay out that man face. You know what I'm saying? Hey, sis, how you doing? That's all I need to be.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, how you doing? That is your brother. You know what I'm saying? He is going to look out for you. But you need to be in order. You know what I'm saying? And the sisters know it, and you know what I'm saying? The brothers know it too.
Okay.
That's all I want to,
Okay. Appreciate you giving me from. Go ahead.
In the instance of not to go against what nobody said, but in the instance of saying that keep silent, it ain't telling a woman just to shut your mouth in the church. It's telling you to know your place. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
The general deals questions from women all night when they go to class and everything. So you can say some stuff, but know what to say. Know what to don't try to teach. You know what I'm saying? That's what this saying. That was really don't try to teach a man anything. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
When it comes to this truth. Now, you got questions. If you don't have a man that's in the truth, then of course you got to ask a man in the truth. But then that man is going to tell you that your man needs to be in the truth too.
Right.
Stop asking me, and he can feed you the information that you need. You know what I'm saying? A righteous brother is going to do that. He's going to tell your man to come up in here, and we can teach him, and then he can teach you.
Right.
So you can stop asking us. You know what I mean?
Right. And if I may piggyback off what the brother said, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, we the woman, you know what I'm saying? They attention is a drug for a woman. You know what I'm saying? So that's why they want to teach. They love that attention. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's a problem in itself. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, a woman can ask questions and all that. We ain't telling, you know what I'm saying, them to, you know what I'm saying, just shut up all the time and be a concubine. No, man, they have good opinions. You know what I'm saying? A lot of sisters are smarter than their brothers. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So we're not saying that. We're just saying, you know what I'm saying, shut your mouth when it comes to, you know what I'm saying, doing too much in front of the next nigga, man, because, you know what I'm saying, that's how you get plucked. You know what I'm saying? And that's all I want to bring out.
Con. I appreciate that. And I kind of got permission from a higher-ranking officer to go to Genesis 3:16. So I'm going to go there just for a moment, because we're talking about, when it says as it is written, we're talking about Genesis 3:16. That's the precept for that. And, this is after, the disobedience of Eve and Adam, and the punishments that were handed down to them. In the Genesis chapter 3, verse 16, it says, unto the woman, he said, talking about the Most High, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband. That desire shall be to thy husband, that's it right there. You're subject to your husband, and he shall rule over thee. So that's why women shouldn't be teaching. That's why women should not usurp authority over a man. And because of her interaction with the beast, the serpent, that was more subtle than any beast of the field, and we're not talking about a snake, we're talking about a man. She had a conversation with that man. That man beguiled her. And that's why we're in the situation we're in now, because, and don't get it wrong, we love our women, right? We know the nature of women. We know the nature of men. We know the nature of our enemy, the oppressor that the Bible speaks of. We know the nature of that beast. So that's why we don't want our women having any kind of dealings with him, unless it's professional. She knows her place as a professional. She knows her place as a daughter of Zion, and she knows how to handle herself, not only at home, not only at work, but as she goes through her daily routine, right? To be in order at all times, to not entertain other men. Because at the end of the day, if a man is not in the truth, he's trying to beguile a woman. Let me get back to the lesson. We'll go to Ephesians chapter 5, verse 22. Like my hands are a little wet here. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 22. There's a precept. We're going to hear the same thing over and over again because we need to hear it over and over again. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 22. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Lord. I want to say that's self-explanatory. Because at the end of the day, in Christianity, when a woman is told to submit yourself unto your own husbands as unto the Lord, they have a tendency to say, well, you're trying to say you're like the Lord or whatever, right? And I'm going to follow him. I'm not going to follow no man, right? But if a man is in order, he's following what the Lord says, right? And at the end of the day, the man is the Lord over a woman. The Adawan, which is Lord in Hebrew. That's why when it comes to rank and order, when you're in this truth as a man, you understand that you say Khan, Adawan Khan. Yes, Lord, yes. In Christianity, we don't understand that, right? We think we're exalting a man to the place of the Most High. That's not what we're doing, which is recognizing rank and order. That's why at all our gatherings, our women call our men sir. That's rank and order. You call your husband Adawan, my Lord, in this truth. Providing your man is in order, providing your man is a righteous man, following the law, statutes, and commandments, he's respecting you, he's honoring you, he's loving you. If you have any doubt that your man is loving you, honoring you, respecting you, guess what? In this truth, you go to his captain. Hey, my husband got some issues. He's disrespecting me. He's not honoring me. I don't think he loves me. So if a man in his truth and the Isupk under Commander General Yohana, there are resources not just for the brother, there's resources for the women. If your man is out of order, you get counsel. A while back, I didn't really explain it, but I gave my wife a higher officer's telephone number. Now she knows what it's for. If I get out of order, she can call Officer Sharia Ward, Officer Karat, if I'm out of order. Because when we read Ephesians chapter 5, verse 22, we're saying the Most High is saying, wives, submit yourselves unto your own husband as unto the Lord. Most High is asking a lot of the women. He's asking a lot of us men. But we, in our feeble way of looking at things and understanding things, have to understand that there is a process in place if your husband is out of order. We're not going to ask you to do anything that we wouldn't do. Go ahead, sir.
Like, if I may, it is, what you bring out is so heavy. Just real quick, one thing, you got to walk that line too, where that's certain things that women will use that as a scapegoat to say if their man is not in the truth or their man is not righteous, that they don't have to submit to that man.
Right.
It does not say that. It says submit yourself to your husband. If you lay with that man, whether he is smoking crack or he is out of his mind, you still have to submit to that man and show him sisterhood and treat him as the Lord. The only thing you are not allowed to do is follow an order that he gives you that makes you break the law, statutes, and commandments.
Right.
But still in that subjection to that man, you will bring him out of that madness. But if you think that since he's not following the Bible, you don't have to listen to the man, that's a cop-out. That's a very Christian mind state. So that it's good to deal with a brother in the truth, but if sisters have guys with a man that's not in the truth, then they still have to honor that man, and that also lets the younger women know to be cautious of who you lay with and choose your man wisely, because you don't want to be stuck in a situation where you feel like you're honoring a man that's not righteous. So that's all I have to say on that.
Con, appreciate you bringing that up. Go ahead.
Yeah, and with that being known, you know, your man is ordered by law to protect you.
Right.
So if he's doing something that doesn't protect you or whatever, or in any way, or like he does something like give you an STD or something that's not protected, you know what I'm saying? You can take that man to counsel. You know what I'm saying? If your man is doing something that's not protecting you, you can take that man to counsel. You know what I'm saying? Especially if he's in the UK. That's all I'm going to bring out.
With that, I'm bringing out this last scripture, Proverbs 31:10. It's Proverbs 31:10. And it reads, "Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies." Her price is far above rubies. A ruby is a jewel. You know, we like diamonds and everything, right? But rubies, in comparison, when you look at the price of rubies per carat and the price for diamonds per carat, the ruby is way more valuable. So as a righteous man, we're looking for a virtuous woman. And if you found a virtuous woman before you come into this truth, Most High in Christ bless you. It is not easy to find a virtuous woman. So at the end of the day, when a woman hears all these rules that they have to follow, I pray that they understand that being a virtuous woman, we're going to appreciate them for her value or her price is far above rubies. So I don't have to talk to the men who are in this truth or in ISUPK about how to treat their women. But if you're a brother and you're getting ready to come into this truth, you got a virtuous woman, you look over there at her, you understand that she's virtuous, and you still doing all this foolishness, and she stayed with you all this time, you need to come into this truth. An Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge under Commanding General Yohana. To learn how to be a righteous man. Any other comments before I cut it off? I'm going to read ISUPK security announcements. We are the ISUPK under Commanding General Yohana, started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother or sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After the 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment, can be found in Numbers chapter 18, verse 21, and Malachi chapter 3, verses 8 through 10. In Hebrew, it means ma'asherah, or a tenth. 10% of any increase the Most High gives you, gives to the Treasury Department or teacher. Priest fund is a free will offering for priests, not mandatory, whatsoever amount you would like. The upcoming holy convocations, we have the Feast of First Fruits this Friday. And then also we're waiting for the announcement of Passover. We want to remind everyone they can find the announcements on our website at www.isupk.com. If any brother wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black, boots, shirts, pants, headband, and scarf. And with that, I'm in the class. Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai Barak a thumb to all the brothers. Yahweh Shamar al thumb by Shem Yahweh Shai to all the sisters.
One courtesy salute to the teacher of Majum Sabbath, of Majum Barak, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai Barak a thumb. Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai Barak a thumb.
Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai Barak a thumb.
Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai Barak a thumb.
Class dismissed. Salakia. Courtesy salute.
One west to the death of me.
Salakia, we'll give a courtesy salute to the women.
One courtesy salute to the women. Amijam Sabbath. Amijam Barak.
Yahweh Shamar al thought by Shem Yahweh Shai.
Yahweh Shamar and Shem Yahweh Shai.
Class dismissed.
Shalom.
We're done.
Yes.
I'm sorry, you could have hung up when somebody else got into the line. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Wrong words, right? What? Most High Christ, sir. Say that again. Most High Christ, I appreciate it, sir. Most High Christ. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you later. How about some stuff I could talk?